Theme is making each other better with Walt and Sheikah. And we are here to bring you guys a word that we hope um, that will inspire, empower, and challenge you to live better. And not just better, but if you can do better, you can get to best, right? So I was having a conversation with my husband yesterday because I was walking and talking to my dad for 2 hours. And my dad said something to me that I just literally retext him what he said to me today because it's still ringing in my ears. But he was bringing some encouragement to a young lady rather, and she just kept saying, Mr. Charlie, everything that you telling me, it's whatever, because I turn heads, Mr. Charlie. This body turns heads wherever I go. And respectfully, he responded to her. He said, Sheikah, I just had to tell her, you turning heads, but you only turning heads for the bed. And I said, what did you say? He said, I just told her, you turning heads for the bed. That's the highest you're going to go. And it just made me think that so many times we think because somebody asked us for our phone number, we think because somebody DM us, we think because we're getting all of this attention, the highest we're going to get with certain people is the bed. And to me, that's low. Anybody can hop in the bed and get entangled in some sheets. He said, you're turning heads. The type of individuals that's paying attention to you, the type of individuals that's running behind you, they're running behind you for one reason.
And we like to call that the end game. That's the end game. So you have to start asking yourself, as the topic of this discussion tonight is the end game. What is your end game? Because just like you just described, in regards to how she created a certain end game for the guy, for the male, based on the way that she portrayed herself as.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having a business or working for someone and you are capped off at a certain amount. There was no more room for growth. There was no more room for promotions, no more rooms for benefits or connections. There was no more room to expand. And so what he was trying to encourage and challenge her is to think higher. Think higher than someone trying to captivate you. Think higher than someone saying, hey, psst, psst. Because those type of turned heads, they only want what's easy for them. And what's easy for them is the bare minimum. What's easy for them is the bare minimum. So, we're still on this protect your pearls. We're still on this, you are the pearl. One of the Protect Your Pearls reader actually sent me something and underlined it. And I just want to read this to you guys, because not only women can protect their pearls, guys, you can protect your pearls too. And I just want to just read this, if y'all let me read this little excerpt, and we will keep on with the motivation. But it says, the pressure to leave the single zone is real. And yes, it is real pressure, right? I have been there and at times thought it would not be easy unless I settled, right? However, when I rejected the myth that alone was not miserable, I vowed to never shrink myself to fit in anyone's box. God has given us value through his name that we must honor and protect. So the pressure is real. But you said something like 2 minutes ago. You said, when I'm already filled, then I really don't have room for nothing else.
Yeah. Ultimately, if you're an individual that's already, for the most part, because I think the question you asked was, how did I feel in regards to what was it? Just
the pressure on single people.
Just the pressure on single people in regards to, I guess, jumping into a relationship or anything in regards to that. And so, from my perspective, just thinking about it, if you are an individual, there may be some family pressure, but ultimately, it all comes back to you based on where you are at. Are you an individual that's pretty much full yourself, you're whole yourself? Because if you're in that particular place, for the most part, you won't be so much victimized or leaning more towards the pressure of other individuals because you're already full. And I know you related that to as far as just maybe eating just like food, because if I'm not hungry anymore, if I'm full on the inside, any type of food can come along and I'm more easier to say, no, I'm okay. And so, however, the issue is that most of the time when we're not full as men and as women, anything can come along and all of a sudden you're looking to grab at it. So this is a concept that we can use for all levels of circumstances, but more in particular in this is that we have to be at a place where we're whole and where we're full, because when we're at that place, people can't come along in our own life and cause us to snap at these types of things. That means you're hungry, and you never want to be a hungry individual when it comes to relationships, really.
Yeah, because when I know when I'm hungry, I catch an attitude.
Yeah.
Right? I catch an attitude and then I'm ready to eat anything. I'm ready to eat candy. I'm ready to eat some chips. If I'm in Publix and I am shopping and I am already hungry, you better believe I am going to stop by in the back and get me some chicken while I'm shopping. I am going to get me a donut while I'm shopping. And because then when I get home, I'm not ready to eat a nutritional meal. So we have to be very careful what we fill up on, because when you're filled with certain things as well, it will cause you to deny. I know being filled with junk. If you offer me, I don't care if it's a steak, I don't care if it's fruit. If I'm already filled with junk, I don't want anything, and it could be for my betterment.
Yeah.
So we as individuals, yes, it is so important to be filled, because being filled will cause you to deny, but what you are full of matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
What you
Hillary says, I'm already full and filled. Amen. Absolutely. And that's where we have to be. We got to get to that place, because anytime you are at a place where you are, obviously you're not content. Anybody can come along and just bring things along your way, and man, you're just going to just grab at it. So, what's the end game? What is the end game at the end of the day? So based on how you're portraying yourself, I know that was one of the other components that we were talking about in regards to this area. We have to look at what we're pushing out there to other people as well.
Oh my gosh, listen, turning heads for the bed, I'm just not gonna ever forget that, because you don't think, when you're talking to someone, you're not thinking what level of respect, what level of value does this person truly have for me? Because you're thinking we're adults, we're going to date. 9 times out of 10, if you are not celibate, you're going to more than likely have sex. And some people think commitment is going to come after that or during that, right? But that was your limit for that particular person. As soon as you gave your number, that person had in their mind what limit, what cap, had already capped you off at the bed. This is why you probably didn't meet family. This is why they probably don't bring certain people around their friends. This is why you're probably only good for behind closed doors, because they've already capped you off. They've already capped you off at the bed. And listen to me, for the people who think that, well, that's fine because that's all I want to. Do you think of yourself so low? Has individuals taken the worth off of themselves so low to only be good for the bed? That is my question. And I know in my worldly sense, just like I was telling Walt when my daddy told me, I said, that's the highest some of my relationships went.
Yeah.
That's it. They didn't marry me. They didn't open a business with me. They didn't get saved with me. The highest it went was bed activity. And that is not your worth. That was not my worth.
And that goes back to, again, raising your standards. Raise that standard up as high as it can go. And so when you do that, then you're not working off of this limited cap.
Well, we're so glad that you guys joined in. I see you on here, Anthony. We're just excited. We're not going to be on here long with you guys. I definitely wanted to share that thought from my dad. He is a man of nuggets, and it's so... it just clung to me. That message clung to me because I know, hey mom, because I know so many people are like, yes, I got this dude after me. I got this dude after me. He want me and he got a lady. He want me and he's a business owner. He want me and he's an athlete. You got so many people after you, but what have they capped you at in their mind? That would be my question. Where am I capped in their mind? Am I capped as future wife? Am I capped as even a very good friend? Or am I capped just for what you doing 1 o'clock in the morning? I'm coming over.
Yeah, because you actually portray that. We all push out that type of signal to an individual every time. So if you're a woman and you're talking to an individual, every time you're talking, everything that you're doing, you're portraying a certain cap or perception for that man, because he's already thinking based on how you're thinking. What's your thoughts? What's your value system? Because if you lower your value system, you're already capping yourself off at that level of value system already. And so that's why it is imperative that you not only just raise your value up, but you in your own mind, set that as your true standard. You have to literally feel that this is my value, and you're going to raise it up, because that's what we do as men. That's just the natural. We're hunters, but at the same time, everyone have a certain perception of how they're looking at an individual based on what you're valuing, based on how you're portraying yourself. So sometimes it comes with the words that come out of your mouth. Everything that you're saying is portraying some type of perception that you're giving that individual. And so be at a place to where you are conditioned to keep your standards at a place where it's high.
Listen to me. Wow, this is really good stuff, and I just want to encourage someone out there. You are valuable. Past mistakes does not take away your value. People you have connected with does not take away your value. You are valuable in the kingdom of God. You may not be valuable in a world sense. The world may not find you valuable because maybe you don't want to do certain things. Maybe you don't want to dummy yourself down to certain things, but you are always valuable no matter what your state is. As long as there is breath in your body, you are valuable to the kingdom of God, because what God does is he has a way of getting that mud off those pearls and representing them. You are always valuable in the mind and in the heart of God. So to those people who have diminished certain parts of themselves, you have lowered your standards to fit in a relationship box, to be with someone who has capped you off. You have settled for the cap, right? You, just as you would a job, once you found out, there is no more room for growth. I've heard individuals on jobs ask in meetings, hey, I'm working in this particular area right here, but hey, is there any room for growth? And I've heard, supervisors say, no, this is pretty much it for you. We're not going to pay for your college. We're not going to give you a raise. You do not qualify for benefits. And I've seen people think, and I've seen people work that clock for a couple of more months and come to me and say, you know what, Miss T, I won't see you again because I got a full-time job somewhere else. You can always change the position, and your position is what has to be changed. When somebody start capping you off and it's lower than your value system, it's lower than what God says that you are worth, you can always change positions. Don't you ever allow someone to cap you in a place, keep you in a place, and you stay there.
Yeah.
Change that position.
Change your position.
Change that position. It is imperative that you know your value to the point that you say, you know what? I'm getting a lot of calls. I'm getting a lot of text messages, but we're not doing anything productive. What you mean? I'm just capped off at a 1 a.m. text? I'm capped off when you leave your friends or you leave a place and you want to just stop by. I'm capped off at just stopping by my house. I'm capped off with just going through a drive-through. You will bring me something to eat. That's my cap with you. Find your cap with the individual. And I promise you, when you find your cap with an individual, you will know your place and you will know if you need to move or stay.
Interesting. So let me ask you, so as a woman, right? What are some of the things that you know, just hindsight looking back, or maybe in your own personal life, or just, talking with other individuals, what you've noticed has been something that women or other people such as yourself have pushed off that has put an immediate cap on other people, put a cap on men? Some of the things that they've done, maybe some things that they've said, and I think you've already alluded to that already with some of the things you just mentioned. But what are some of those things?
What will cause a man to know that you're capped at a certain place? I think first and foremost, when you know that an individual is taken, and you are trying to slide in those little gaps, because you can only slide so much when somebody is already committed to somebody else. And when you take the leftovers just to say you have a man, you've capped yourself in his mindset. You probably will never be main chick because he know he can always talk about his woman to you and you're not going to do anything. He can always slide through and he got to go home, right? You've capped yourself. The moment you take somebody else's, my uncle used to say, I have the melon and they have the rhyme. You will always get the rhyme of the man when he belonged to somebody else. Because though he is really no good to her, she's eating the melon part of the fruit. But you will always have the rhyme because there will not be any really nutrition left over by the time he gets to you. And so I believe you cap yourself when you underestimate getting your own man. You can do it. Like, you don't have to have somebody else's man. God has given you a uniqueness about yourself that attracts somebody that's available.
Also, just sitting here thinking, one of the things that I also look at that women many times make a huge mistake at as far as revealing too much of yourself physically early on in a relationship, date, or whatever, because what you're doing is automatically causing that man to look externally at you, and you're now creating an end game for him, and you are not allowing him to see past the flesh of you and not start looking at what you're thinking about, what's your future, what are some of these other things that you're doing. So I understand a little bit more now why some cultures, they kind of wrap themselves up a little bit more and, just try to eliminate some of the flesh type of ordeals, because what you're doing is you're creating an immediate perception in that man's mind. Although, maybe that wasn't his intent at the beginning, but that's what you're doing within that relationship. And so just be careful, because I know many times, you can be on social media and I can scroll through things and all of a sudden I'm seeing something immediate where a woman is really showing so much of herself as if she's trying to create an attention in this particular area.
Right.
And you immediately lost that man's perspective on who you are, who more outside of your body, but more internally of who you are as an individual, because you're immediately capturing them within the flesh.
Listen to me. That's a good question. How are we putting a cap on ourselves? When you think even about a job, there may be room for growth. but you're late every day.
Late every day.
You don't turn in the assignments. You're fussing and cussing every time somebody look at you wrong. You just place a cap on yourself. There's room for growth, but you will never get that opportunity. Someone else may get that opportunity, but you won't. And even as individuals, we cap ourselves, our mentality, how we present ourselves, what we show off at, to your point, Walt, but also what we take. A lot of times what you take will cap you in a relationship, because most women feel like we have a shortage of men. So you know what, I'm gonna take that. He hung up on me, I'm gonna take that. He didn't call me back like he said he would, I'm gonna take that. And you take so much, you water yourself down, and now you cap yourself in his, well, I don't have to work for her. But then, because men are workers, real men are workers, they are hunters, then they go and they discuss some things with somebody else who has raised their cap. No, you can't call me 1 o'clock in the morning because I have to work. So you need to call me at 7 if you want to talk. Now he's rushing trying to call her at 7, and he'll call you at 1 and wake you and your children up by ringing the doorbell.
Yeah.
We place caps on ourselves. And so if you don't want to be capped out in any relationship, if you want your cap to be marriage, commitment, right? Friendship, then you got to raise that bar. You have to raise that bar. You have to raise that bar. And my dad wasn't trying to be disrespectful. Men need to talk to young girls and young women like that so that they will understand. No dude who has already capped this young lady off, who's dressing provocative and she's turning heads, right? No man is that's already thinking bed activity is going to say, you need to cover up a little bit, Mom. You're too beautiful for that. They're going to want you to continue to downgrade, low grade yourself, so that you continue to open up a door for them.
Yeah.
So that is making each other better with Chic and Walt. If you have not already, make sure you invest in the Protect Your Pearls Dating Guide for Women, because we have more nuggets and more content that will empower, inspire, and challenge you to date productively. And one of the things I want you to know is that you can date productively and still have fun. So thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be back next Monday.